There is an 18-year-old student by the name of Maddi Runkles. She got pregnant in January and was suspended at her Christian school and then disallowed to walk in her graduation. And I have a guest with me to talk about that because the pro-life group, some of the pro-life groups, are against this girl being disallowed to walk in her graduation. They said the punishment is too harsh. And I'm going to talk to my guest here in a minute to find out why. But here is the soundbite from Fox News, a report from Fox News, pregnant student Maddi Runkles not allowed to walk at her graduation.
Defending their decision to ban a pregnant student from participating in her graduation ceremony next week because she violated the school's abstinence pledge. Pro-life groups argue that the school should instead be praising the teen for the decision that she made, which was not an easy one, to keep her baby.
Maddi Runkles found out she was pregnant in January, and in February she notified the school. The 18-year-old straight-A student was then told by Heritage Academy that she'd be suspended, removed as student council president, and would finish the school year at home. The Runkles family appealed, and the school finally decided Maddi could finish the year with her 14 classmates, but would not be allowed to walk with them at graduation. The principal issued a statement saying she signed the school pledge, then broke it, adding, quote, Maddi is being disciplined not because she's pregnant, but because she was immoral. But Maddi thinks she's being punished because her mistake is visible, and she believes the school is missing an opportunity to set an example for the pro-life community. And pro-life groups are now defending her, saying her school is making it more likely that young women will choose abortion over embarrassment. And while Maddi Runkles is gaining support, she has also been called out and criticized on social media by her fellow students and their moms. But she'd be the first to admit it won't be easy.
I know it's going to be really hard to still accomplish all my goals and all my dreams, but I get to have a little guy following right next to me, and we get to do it together.
Maddi's baby boy is due September 4th.
Pro-life groups came out to support her and spoke out against the school. The Students for Life raised $16,000 for a college scholarship for this young girl. I have with me Kristen Hawkins, president of Students for Life of America. Kristen, thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me today.
Yes. You're the president of Students for Life of America, a pro-life group, right? Why are you supporting this girl?
Well, you know, Maddi reached out to us earlier this spring about what was happening with her school. We spoke with her family. I actually personally reached out to the school, asking them to change their policy of not letting her walk at graduation. What really struck me about Maddi's story is oftentimes when we're on campuses, we meet so many young women who say, I had an abortion because I was afraid to tell anybody at my church, because I went to a Christian school and I knew they were going to kick me out. And here Maddi was contacting us, telling us that she was going to choose life, but this was what she was facing on her campus. And it just really struck me because I thought, you know, what a poor way to set an example of grace in that school in front of all the other students, because what the administration had done, you know, her punishment of an unofficial 2-day suspension, removal from her student body leadership positions, that was a common discipline in line with other students who broke the student code of conduct, students who had, you know, engaged in illegal activity or had been arrested. But this banishment from graduation was a new thing, and it was just administered because she was pregnant, and that has been remarked several times about what it would look like to have a pregnant woman walk across the stage at graduation. And that, to me, that's all wrong, because as a pro-life movement, we obviously know premarital sex is an unhealthy decision, and it's nothing, you know, it's not a decision we want any of our young people to make. However, when pregnancy does occur, the premarital sex was the sin. It wasn't the pregnancy. But what the school was doing was essentially telling students that the pregnancy was the sin, that they were embarrassed of Maddi, and this would be the consequences if you also got pregnant. And we really felt that we needed to take this story public because we needed to show all the other students at Heritage Academy that this is not what Christians should be doing to pregnant women who are pregnant in crisis. This is not what the pro-life movement wants to do. Our mission is to make sure that women don't ever feel like they have to choose between the life of their child and their education or their career goals, that it might be difficult, but it is possible.
Kristen, are you a Christian?
Yes, I am.
And meaning that you are a child of God, right?
That's right.
And this young girl, her parents signed an agreement with the school that if things like this happen, there will be punishment for it.
Mm-hmm.
So this girl knew in advance that if she got pregnant, that she would be punished for it.
She knew that she would be punished for having premarital sex.
Right. And
There's no punishment for pregnancy. Pregnancy is not a sin.
But she had sex then, so she's being punished for...
That's right, and she went to the school, and her dad was actually the chairman of the board of the school, so he had sat in on many disciplinary cases over the course of his chairmanship.
I want to go back to this first, though. Hold on,
Sure.
Kristen. The girl was punished for having sex, and as a result of having sex, you run the risk of getting pregnant. So the sin is the sex. You're right, but so she's being punished for having sex. And the way they found out she had sex is that she was pregnant. So she broke the contract. Why should she be punished for breaking the contract?
Well, I think it's important, we want to hold our young people to high standards. And if it's a Christian school or any school that has a code of conduct, a level of expectation for their students, obviously, if you have students sign a code of conduct, there's going to have to be punishment when that code of conduct is broken, or no one will take that code of conduct seriously.
That's right. Hold on for me, Kristen. Let me take a quick break, all right? So 18-year-old student Maddi Runkles got pregnant, and at a Christian school, there was a contract prior to the when she started school there that if you have sex or out of wedlock, there's a punishment for it. She had sex, got pregnant, and now the pro-life group is supporting Maddi. Kristen Hawkins is with me. She's the president of Students for Life of America. Kristen, let me just ask, where is the righteousness in supporting this girl who knew that there would be punishment for her actions if she, broke the contract? How is that going to help other students when they do wrong, if they see people, Christians, coming out and supporting wrongdoing?
Well, I think it's important here. Christians aren't supporting wrongdoing here. Maddi, went before her school. She told her school that she had violated their code of conduct. She received a 2-day unofficial suspension and removal for leadership positions, which she accepted gracefully. She knew that discipline had to happen and reconciliation had to happen. There was no concern about that. Students for Life and other pro-life groups were fine with her receiving discipline for breaking that code of conduct, for engaging in premarital sex. What we were not okay with was that this additional punishment that no other student had to ever go through was this banishment from graduation. And actually, the school principal in his first TV interview 2 weeks ago actually summed it up of what would it look like to have a 7-month pregnant woman walking on stage and send mixed signals. And the school maintained that they did this to protect Maddi, but they didn't do it to protect Maddi, because the principal actually scheduled an all-school assembly, inviting all parents, teachers, and students to a school assembly where he was going to announce that Maddi was pregnant. Maddi actually volunteered to do it herself.
But what I'm
instead
saying,
of him speaking for her.
What I'm saying, I don't understand how the Christians, you guys call yourself Christians, meaning that you represent good. You represent God. And this woman, first of all, she's pregnant out of wedlock. She broke her contract. And you guys can't determine what the punishment should be. That's up to the school. And the girl and her family can't determine what the punishment is because you knew there would be a punishment. And instead of encouraging this girl to accept that she is wrong and accept the punishment, you guys rewarded her by going into the liberal media and defending something that is apparently wrong. You rewarded her by raising $16,000 for a college scholarship. That doesn't sound very Christian to me. That's what the public schools do.
That's exactly what Christians are supposed to do.
No, it's not.
We
You
believe
don't
in
reward,
mercy.
We
believe in grace. We
That's
weren't
not
rewarding
grace.
for her for premarital sex.
Yes, you are.
We were encouraging her. This is a problem in the Christian community. Half of all women who have abortions self-identify as Christians. More than 40% of women who have an abortion say that they're a regular church attender. If Christians would rise up, if Christians would talk about abortion, if Christians would support other women in their church and make it so other women don't feel shame.
You should
they
feel
literally
ashamed.
run into the hands of the abortion industry. There was an Olympian this week on Sports Illustrated who won a bronze and gold medal at the Beijing Olympics. I'm forgetting her name. She's talking about her new book, and she said that the day before she went to the Beijing Olympics, she had an abortion. And in her quote, she talked about how she was worried about what her church would think because she knew she'd engaged in premarital sex.
She should have thought about that before engaging in premarital sex. Where is the grace in what you guys are doing? I don't see any grace. This girl broke the laws of God. She broke the laws of the school. She knew what the laws were in advance. And I don't see any grace in that. Where's the grace in that?
Because we showed her grace.
No, you didn't.
That's what Christians show mercy. Christians show grace.
But you're not
mercy
showing grace. You're acting like the liberal.
Judgment.
You're acting like the liberal women who are defending what's wrong. If you really love grace and love God, you would encourage this girl to, if she's really sorry for what she's done, accept the punishment. You can't say, I'm sorry for what I've done, but I'm not going to accept the punishment. That's not being sorry.
She accepted the punishment of the 2-day suspension, of the removal of leadership positions.
I'm not being able to graduate.
Who had broken the code of conduct.
I'm not being able to graduate.
This was an additional punishment for being pregnant.
Fine.
Than no other student. Students had been arrested before, and they weren't banished from walking in graduation. This is because she has a baby bump.
And she has a big belly.
The principal was very clear. This is what it would look like. Christians were too afraid of what it would look like rather than supporting her and showing her
What's wrong with
love.
that? What's wrong with that? You should be ashamed.
Because that kind of signal to every young girl at that school, it's better to have an abortion than to come forward pregnant.
You should be ashamed to walk down the aisle of a high school graduation with a 7-month pregnancy belly poking out. It's a disgrace. She should be ashamed. And what she should do...
It's not something Maddi is proud of. It's not that
she is proud of it.
To go down her graduation aisle pregnant.
No,
but the fact is she should be allowed to graduate.
No. She did in private, not in public, because it's a shame to be pregnant out of wedlock.
This is the exact attitude that's driven women to the abortion facilities for years.
Whatever. It's the right attitude. It's the right attitude.
It's the right. You say it's the right attitude. This is the attitude of so many women when they go into the abortion facility every day. They go to that abortion facility. They literally run into
She didn't have to have an abortion, Kristen. She didn't have to have an abortion.
They're afraid of what their Christian response will be.
They should think about that before getting pregnant.
We are responsible for that.
Kristen, let me ask. The father was on the board of this school, and so that means he was in agreement of the punishment, but he didn't want to be a part of the decision-making, so he recused himself, and because he knew the school was going to do the right thing.
No, he actually disagreed with the school's punishment.
Let me
That's
finish.
Why he resigned.
No, he's a little coward. He's a little coward. He went home and listened to his wife and daughter, and he caved in. He's a weak father. And the problem in this country is that men are weak, and they're allowing these women like this to do wrong because they don't have the courage to stand up to their wives and children and guide them in the right
Scott
way.
is a very godly man, and he
he's
is
not.
truly the leader of his family.
No, he's not.
And he's shown by example
what
leadership means.
No, he's not.
And what being a man means.
That's not true.
I'm so proud of Scott.
Scott is weak. He's pathetic. He's weak. And as a result, his daughter has had sex out of wedlock, got pregnant, and he is not man enough to do the right thing in this situation. It's a shame. And this is what's wrong with Christianity today. The Christians are weak. They excuse wrong by going along with it because it makes them feel good. It's not for God. It's for their own ego.
We never excuse wrongdoing.
You
we
are
know
doing
that
this here.
premarital sex is a sin. Maddi, she accepted her punishment for violating the code of conduct. Her family was perfectly fine with her being punished because they believed discipline
You're not being
should
honest.
be administered.
You're not being honest. This is not the lifestyle of a true man or woman of God. You can't ride two horses at the same time. And what you and your group and this girl's father and mother are doing is trying to ride two horses at the same time. This is wrong. This girl should accept the punishment, whatever it might be. Then you can see that she's truly
why
sorry.
Why would you have her wear a scarlet A for the rest of her life?
No, why don't you have her?
You?
Why don't you have her go in private, graduate, have her baby, get married? Why doesn't she marry the guy? He's still around. The baby's daddy. Why don't you encourage that?
We've talked with Maddi about the father of her
but
child.
But you're not encouraging her to marry.
Will be involved, but he is not a Christian.
Oh,
he is
Lord.
Not
Hold on, Christian. Hold on. This is shameful. Back in a moment. What did you think about the interview with the lady?
That was a really good interview.
Kristen.
It was too bad that you couldn't go one more segment. But she actually, we were only scheduled, and I forgot to tell you, until 25 minutes after the hour. She could only do 20 minutes. But you kept her to 24 minutes. And then you put her on hold. I picked it up because I knew. I was thinking 2 segments.
Right.
Because I'm not used to this
right.
halfway through the segment thing. And she said, I have to go. I was supposed to be gone at 25.
I'm going to take some calls. There are people who wanted to talk to her, but she's gone, and she did not run.
Right.
It was so she doesn't have to get the chicken song.
Correct.
But it was planned. It was only set for 20 minutes or so.
Yeah. I
didn't know it. I wasn't aware of that. I'm disgusted at these people, so-called Christian, coming in as president of Students for Life of America, defending this girl who got pregnant out of wedlock. The Christian school said in advance, if you do this kind of stuff, you will be punished. And you can't determine what your punishment is.
This reminds me of the felons who want leniency. They want to be able to vote. They want to be able to...
And what does he mean? Yeah, what does he mean by they were showing mercy? How are you going to show mercy to someone?
But they're not showing mercy to the school. They're putting very bad PR on the school because
I'm telling
the
you,
media is attacking
they
them.
ripping the school.
Yeah.
And this weak father, Scott. Can we get Scott on the phone?
I'll try and...
Back in a moment. I got to listen to this song. Back in a moment.
It's not just some